Hello, my name is Adam Sparks. I'm one of the co-creators of Short Answer. Welcome to a short PD where in around 5 minutes we explain effective pedagogical strategies that you can use to make Short Answer more effective in your classroom. So this video was inspired by this incredible PD session that I attended at the 2023 Assessment for Learning Conference in Tucson. And that session was hosted by Desert View High School, and it was led by Yessi Ayala at Wested and Miss Cassie Betton and Larissa Peru of Desert View. Um, but so to say that they led it is a bit of a misnomer because the PD was actually led by students, and that's the photos you're seeing here, right? And it was the first and only time that I've ever experienced that, and it made for one of the most powerful PD sessions I've ever been a part of. So I wanted to share what I learned, and this was a days long PD. So like I've got 5 minutes here. I'm not going to do it full justice, but I hope that I can share some practical applications that you can use in your classroom to develop student agency using Short Answer. So, for simplicity's sake, we're going to define student agency using a broad definition, right? It's the ability to exert control over and give direction to one's own life. And that's kind of agency in general. To get to the heart of it in the classroom and as a learner, it's really about shifting away from students simply reacting to educational experiences that are being pushed onto them by adults, and instead moving toward students being the ones in charge of shaping their educational journey. And so, what does that look like in the classroom? Well, it looks like a lot of things. The kind of the core categories here are engagement, autonomy, and self-regulation. And you can go in, and I'm not going to go through each one of those sub bullet points. But there's this amazing one pager that was created by the Michigan Assessment Consortium that I'll share at the end of this, that this was inspired by. Um, and so this is kind of what agency looks like, right, in the classroom, and that's great. But as educators, the more important question is like, what can I do in my classroom to develop this right? So we're going to go through 5 strategies that I think are effective, specifically around the 5 strategies that speak to each category here, especially the concepts highlighted in yellow, right? Um, so the first one is foundational, really, for anything in your classroom, not just student agency and developing developing student agency in kids. So kids need to feel comfortable and to have safe and supportive social relationships in the classroom if they are going to be able to give feedback openly, to receive feedback openly, and to develop that sense of agency that we're talking about in this video. So um, we've created turnkey lessons based around 2 frameworks that will help you create a safe and supportive social structure in your classroom. And those lessons are free, and they can be customized. But as written, they take around 25 to 30 minutes. They're CASEL aligned. CASEL is kind of the big SEL standards provider in the United States. And they're ready to be printed off and implemented. So please check them out. They're based around these 2 frameworks. The Spark framework you're seeing on the left is a framework for providing more empathetic feedback. The Park framework is something that we came up with around getting kids to maybe more empathetically receive feedback. And obviously, these are just the start, right? Building a safe and supportive social structure in your class is a years long and ongoing process. But I hope that these lessons and posters, which again are totally free, should be helpful in helping you develop that, or at least as a jump off point. Okay, second piece. This one is working with exemplars, and it's easy with Short Answer because it's baked into the experience, right? So as kids provide feedback on the platform, which is what you're seeing here in this video, um, encourage them to slow down and to think about what quality performance really looks like, and really encourage them to interrogate for themselves how they define quality importance, or sorry, how they define quality performance. And then what's great about Short Answer is that they're not just being exposed to high quality exemplars necessarily, right? They're seeing the whole gambit from low to high. So as students provide feedback, prompt them to reflect, like, okay, as you read your classmates' answers, how do you feel your answer stacks up? Like, was yours similar? Was it different? What might you learn from others as you incorporate, or like, what could you incorporate from theirs into your own? And really encouraging that reflection on exemplars can be really powerful in developing metacognition and self-regulated learning strategies. Okay, so that's working with exemplars. The next one's super simple. So co-create the success criteria together. So before you launch a question on Short Answer, have a class conversation about what students feel are the important characteristics that their work should be judged on, and then in that way you're essentially co-creating the rubric, so to speak. So in doing so, uh, you're going to be better able to incorporate the experiences and opinions of your kids, which is going to make the assessment process feel less arbitrary and hopefully more personally relevant. And what I found is interesting about this is that, like, you might do this first period, and then second period comes in, And when you have that same conversation, they come to very different conclusions about what the feedback criteria should be when comparing each other's answers in short answer. And interrogating why that is can lead to some really, really profound conversations with your kids. So co-creating success criteria is an easy one in short answer. And this is, the picture you're seeing here is an actual screenshot from the teacher question creation page. And so this would be where you're having that discussion, I suppose, with your kids. The fourth one, again, this was another obvious one with short answer because it's literally at the core of the entire experience, but peer feedback, right? That enables kids to observe each other's work, which causes reflection. And then that self-reflection and kind of measuring how one's own work compares to others can be very effective in developing metacognition and self-regulated learning skills that are really at the heart of agency. And one way to extend that further is to have students give feedback on the feedback that they've received. So, like at the end of the all in activity, for example, which is the individual feedback report that you're seeing here, um, as a teacher, encourage them to interrogate this feedback, right? Encourage them to ask their classmates for more context if something isn't clear, and have a class discussion about feedback received. And and that really takes us to the last piece here, the fifth one, which is like encourage your kids to question and reflect on the feedback provided to them. Um, to sort of be honest and how they feel about it. And, at the end of the all in activity on short answer, for example, again, which is what you're seeing here, kids get this individual feedback report. So a powerful extension can be simply asking them, like, do you agree with this feedback? Why or why not? Like, what kind of feelings does this feedback elicit? Why? And if they disagree with the feedback, tell them to explain why by citing specific content in their responses that they think demonstrated understanding. And the critical thinking that comes out of this is really powerful and is going to, again, help develop that agency to productively question feedback, which deepens understanding, and over time it develops agency, right? So that was really fast. If you want to go deeper on this, here's a one pager that inspired a lot of the content that is in this presentation. I'll link it in the resources below on the YouTube video. And that's student agency. And so please use the resources here. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much.